right, folks, here we are back again. Phoenix, Arizona. Super Bowl 57 is in the can. It's history. And guess what? It was probably it lived up to the billing. Everything lived up to the billing except for that. Let me pop the music down. Everything lived up to the billing. Folks that are Rihanna fans, yeah, okay. I'm not a Rihanna person, but the fact that she was up in the air that long, it lived up. Everything lived up to the hype except for that $800,000 field that they had. No disrespect to George Stone, 94 years old. I think it's time for George to retire. I'm just because that is with all the athletes on the field that they had running around there, that they didn't need that. It was too much slipping, and I don't know if they got too much paint on it. They should have painted it earlier. I'm not sure. That's my gripe. Got right off the bat. I got the Rad Man from from Rochester, New York, Community News. I got Eld Henderson from the Gilmer Mirror, and some couple other folks might jump on. But if not, hey, quick go round. I'm the lone person here that picked the Eagles. Everybody else picked the Chiefs. And you know what? I'm not even holding a grudge. I'm not even mad. I mean, because you know what? The game lived up to the hype. It lived up to the billing. Even with some questionable calls, and there was some that, and the players admitted there was a hold, a penalty at the late point. So, the referee didn't swallow the flag. So, I let it go. I'm good. Rad Man, what did you think?
Oh, I thought it lived up to the billing. I thought everything was on point. The game was very good. They've been having trouble all season long in Arizona. Matter of fact, I think in the preseason game, Kansas City played Arizona there, and three guys were injured with hamstring injuries and sprained MCLs early in the season. And Andy Reid complained about that surface the first or second week of I think it was a preseason game against the Arizona Cardinals. I don't think it was a regular season game. It was early. It was a preseason game earlier this season. He complained about it. But as we know, they have four different surfaces out there for that Arizona. I'm pretty certain this surface was not one that the Arizona Cardinals played on, but it looked just the same, really. I mean, even after pregame warm-ups, they were out there trying to resod the field after pregame warm-ups. And that I said, wow, what did they do? I thought they were looking for something at first. And I'm saying, are they trying to get ready for the pregame ceremonies and music and all that? But then I said, no, everybody had a bucket and looked like they were sprinkling either grass seeds or just putting sod down where they had divots already just from warm-up. So that was a big indication that something was wrong with the surface.
Elwin?
Well, I think it definitely did live up to the billing. And I had an Eagle fan in the media on either side of me at that last defensive holding call, and they were really complaining. But I looked at the video. There was definitely holding on that play. I think it was a good call. And as I think you probably know, I'm a member of Professional Football Writers of America, and I received an email a little while ago from Carl Cheffers and a pool report. You guys may have gotten that and had a chance to look at it too.
Yeah.
But explaining the reasoning, and I saw it on video, and I told the guys, I said, hey, that's defensive holding every day of the week because it prevented the receiver just as he was trying to make his move from making his move. So I don't think Eagles fans are happy with it, but I think it was the right call. And as much as I wanted Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs to win, I do believe if it had gone against the Chiefs, I would have still said it was the right call.
I don't.
And Bradbury is known for holding. Bradbury is known for holding. He held a lot in Carolina, and I do think the players' reputations kind of precedes them. And when you see that type of situation come up, they automatically say, "Oh, that's that Bradbury." Bam! He just threw the flag because it was a hold. It was a hold, and he didn't get the benefit of the doubt at all. If it was a big time guy, a known guy, they might have not thrown the flag. Yeah. It was a really big time cornerback.
Well, I thought that was I thought that Juju Schuster I think it was the third or fourth down when the Chiefs was trying to drive and get them, start building their momentum. There was a hole, and the fact that one thing they say, if the defensive back get his hands on, they know how to work their hand on your waist, and when you get ready to make your cut, how to keep you from making your cut. And it was one of those moves, and it was a little hole and everything else, and the referees didn't call it. And I guess because he, either Juju didn't sell it enough, but he didn't get the guy to break, to really for keeping him from making his break. But at the end of the day, the referees didn't decide this game. The players on the field decided this game, man. And the referee, and I know everybody, and hell, the Eagles fan would have been complaining that Santa Claus gave everybody what they wanted. So
yep. Well, I'm gonna tell you, AD, I was infuriated, and I literally wanted to scream, "Die, Eagles, die!" Because you got Chuck Howley, an old Cowboy, and the newer Cowboy, DeMarcus Ware, that make the Pro Football Hall of Fame. They were booed loudly by Eagles fans when they were introduced, and Dak Prescott as the man of the year was
man
booed.
of the year. Yeah,
and I'm telling you what, I despise the Eagles because they're the Philadelphia Eagles, but even I would not boo a player that was the Walter Payton Man of the Year if he was an Eagle or who made it into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I'm just going to say what I think, totally classless, and I'll stand by that comment for the rest of my life.
Okay, well, I hope you live a long time.
I agree. I agree. They just don't. They didn't have to say anything. They just didn't have to say anything at all. No. I wasn't surprised, but I was like, come on. When they did Dak Prescott like that, I knew the Hall of Fame guys would get it as well. And Chuck, I was surprised it took so long for Howley to get in because I remember him. He was older when I was a little guy playing.
Yeah, he was
his
tough.
career, and he still was a tough cat. So yeah, I'm surprised he's just now getting into the Hall of Fame.
Well, let's get to this. Let's get to the game. Get down to the game, guy, because it was a game of two halves. It literally was a game of two halves. I mean, the Eagles came out and took the first possession, went down the field. It was a difference in the first half of 24-14 by 10. The Eagles basically controlled the clock. They done everything they needed to. The Eagles used their offense for their defense because the longest Patrick Mahomes them stayed on the sideline, they couldn't get a rhythm going in that. To me, in that first half. But the second half when they come out there, and I'm gonna tell you something, guys. Eric Bieniemy, Andy Reid, and them, they made some nice adjustments in that second half.
Oh, absolutely.
All and the thing about it, Travis Kelce was the key to the adjustments because everybody was determined Travis Kelce is not going to beat us in the second half. Okay, fine. Mm-hmm. They would they put Travis in the slot and they put either the X or the wide receiver on the outside. And every time Travis, when they got down into the red zone, both receivers, Sky Moore and all them guys were wide open. They bit on that same play, running on both sides of the field.
Yeah, Kadarius Toney had a great game. He was one of those wide open receivers. They didn't even look to cover him, and he just tossed the ball over to me, walks into the end zone, had the key punt return. It really makes the New York Giants look really bad because their media really harassed him in New York and always was on him about being on the shelf, having hamstring and tissue issues and things of that nature. So it's great to see that. And he still had tissue issues with the Chiefs too. He was on the shelf again with them with Kansas City as well. So he's one of those he's more of a track guy more than a full guy because the guy is so fast. I mean, when he caught the punt and then took it back across the field, I was like, wow, look how fast you could just see the speed as he moved across the field and then turned it up down the sideline. I was like, oh my God, they come. The next thing I know, he's coming toward us. I said, oh man, I said, how did he get? I couldn't tell how he made it through. I'm gonna have to watch it on TV when I get back home, watch the game. But man, I couldn't believe how he made it down the sideline on that punt return.
No, I couldn't either. And the biggest thing to me about that second half was Patrick Mahomes re-injures that ankle, and you could tell he was on the field a little bit and hobbled off. And he said in the post game he did not even get a shot in that ankle. Patrick Mahomes just blocks out. With him, it's mind over matter. And you wouldn't have thought after that move he made when he got hurt there in the first half that he would have been able to run the ball 5 yards, and he makes that 26-yard run that sets up the touchdown. I mean, the guy is just like Superman, except there is no kryptonite.
No, Elwin, don't believe everything people say, because he couldn't even hardly get off the stand after he said that at the podium. You notice he was just limping on. He couldn't even put that leg on the floor. So that tells you he was shot up, man. He was shot up, man. He was shot up. Because for him to run 26 yards the way he ran, come on, man. You know he was shot up.
Well, I tell you what,
right?
He said he wasn't. I believe him. He's Texas.
I don't.
He's Texas. Don't lie.
Hey, guys. Tell you what, we're gonna let Andy Reid. I'm gonna let Andy Reid explain that. Hold on, Andy, explain that to us.
Strives to be the greatest. I mean, without saying anything, that's the way he works. I mean, he wants to be the greatest player ever. That's what he wants to do, and that's the way he goes about his business. And he does it humbly. You know, I mean, there's no bragging. He could stand up here and give you these stats that are incredible that he's had, but he's never going to do that. That's just not him. And so we appreciate that. And then when it's time for the guys around him to raise their game, he helps them with that. He's one of these great quarterbacks, make everybody around him better, including the head coach. So he's
well. And Andy didn't say anything about if the doctor shot him up or not. But I'm of the opinion he had at the halftime, because I'm like George, because I saw him coming off the field, man. I mean, because that the way he was tackled, it just sort of I don't think the defender tried to hurt him. I just think it was a situation, man. It was the way he was tackled and the way he went down. You could tell. I mean,
it was a clean hit, but if you noticed, about a minute left in the half, Patrick was already standing back up and walking normally. That's why when he said he wasn't shot up, I believe him. Now, they did something, obviously. Maybe they put him in the super hyperbolic chamber during the long halftime or something. They did something, but he was standing up and walked normally off the field at halftime.
Yeah,
it gave him more time to administer this. It gave him more time to administer the shot and rewrap that whole ankle again. I bet the ankle was wrapped so tight that he barely had circulation in it to be able to just
he said
move.
It was wrapped
when
very
he ran
tight.
that ball, because the way he ran that ball for that 26-yard run, you knew something. I said, wait a minute, man, you can't hardly walk a few minutes, less than an hour or so ago, and now you out here running full speed. He couldn't run full speed in the first half. Most of the half, he was. You can see he was laboring and not wanting to run with the football.
Well, you know what? I have a tendency to believe something happened, but you know what? We don't know when adrenaline kicked in, because remember in the AFC Championship game, he had to get up and run in, and so let's face it. At least the saga of Patrick Mahomes, that whole issue now, I think it starts growing. Tom Brady has retired, and I think this kid has stepped in the breach, not only with him, but I think there's a series of quarterbacks. I say, George, I got one up there in Buffalo that I think we're gonna talk about. Obviously, Cincinnati has one. They got a young gun, and Jalen Hurts, man. I don't know what else we can say about him. His performance tonight, he 27 to 38, 304 yards, and he had 70 yards rushing. I mean, he set it.
Three touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, he tied a Super Bowl record.
He did. He has nothing to be ashamed of. I know he was almost crying at the podium after the game. Yeah, that man played an outstanding game. It was just that turnover, the fumble that he had, and they picked up and ran back for a touchdown was costly because Kansas City offense didn't have to score that touchdown. The defense, which rarely scores touchdowns for them, got one tonight and almost got a second one that wasn't ruled properly, an incomplete pass on that second one.
Yep.
That was, speaking of Red Man, I'm glad you brought that up. Did you agree with? Because I saw it was going back and forth. I mean, it's almost like, okay, the third step came down when the ball when the hit came. So I'm just trying to figure out. I've seen that play actually being called a completed pass and a fumble.
Yep,
I have.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's another one of those bang bang plays, and I guess it wasn't enough to overturn the call. But
no,
again, like I said, I stated in the onset, the referees didn't lose this game tonight. It was won and lost on the field, and so and to that extent. But Patrick in his post game, he paid homage to Jalen Hurts. And I want to, in fact, I want to just play this clip of what Patrick and he took his hat off to Jalen Hurts. And like Radman, you said, Jalen Hurts had nothing to be ashamed of. I mean, Patrick Mahomes just paid his dues to him tonight on this. Here you go.
And ran through the ball, whatever it took for his team to win. I mean, that was a special performance. I don't want it to get lost in the loss that they had. I mean, even whenever we got all the momentum in that game and we went up 8 points in the fourth quarter, for him to respond and move his team right down the football field and run it in himself in a 2-point conversion, it was a special performance by him, man. And I mean, you make sure you appreciate that when you look back on this game.
You're right, guys. I mean, hey, hats off to him. I don't know what else he could have done. I don't know if Jalen Hurts need to come up there and sit with the press or come out to the sell popcorn tonight, Red Man. And I mean, he done everything else you could expect. I mean, and the thing about it, he threw the deep. We were expecting Patrick Mahomes to throw the deep ball tonight, correct? I mean, we were anticipating that.
Correct.
But the deep ball was coming where? Coming from Jalen Hurts tonight. Yep. And I mean,
and the Chiefs defense still hasn't figured out how to cover Goddard.
They can't cover. They can't cover it
every time he got the ball thrown at him.
Well, that's the weakness of the Chiefs. The Chiefs give up the big play. Josh Allen. The only team Josh Allen can really dominate, or not dominate, but really have big games against is Kansas City because they just don't have a true safety. Their safety is, I don't know where their safety is at on the field. I'm looking at these guys. I'm like, why is the safety? Why wouldn't you double team A.J. Brown and go with Brown? They let Brown run all over the field and go and catch the touchdown. It's like, come on, man. You wouldn't cover their best player, their safety. You wouldn't try to help your corner and go with the guy. You're still in the middle of the field, and this guy over in the end zone to giving the ball, handing the ball to the referee. It's like, what's going on?
I think a couple times, Jay. I mean, he beat the double coverage. I mean, he actually. I mean, A.J. Brown did have a high safety on him, and he just remember one time he just went up and took the ball away.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a 50-50 ball, guys, and he took it. He actually beat it with the safety. The safety was there. And when the ball and the safety actually came across his face, but he just basically took the ball away. I mean, I think I understand now why the Tennessee Titans probably fired their general manager because they gave this receiver up for. I mean, I almost thought that was almost fall into the same line of that Bill O'Brien, DeAndre Hopkins type deal.
Oh yeah,
kind of.
By the way, not to get off of the Super Bowl here, but for a minute, but I know I sent you the picture, AD. I ran into
go ahead.
Wells, and he and his wife were headed into the pro shop when they first got there. And I had a chance to talk with him just a minute and asked him his thoughts about D'Amico. and what they'd been through with David Culley and Lovie Smith. And, he had a pretty interesting comment about it that makes a lot of sense. He said, I didn't really feel like Coach Culley or Coach Smith were treated right. But he said, I'm going to tell you, this whole team is rallying around DeMeco Ryans because he's a younger mind and brings a lot more to the table than either Coach Culley or Coach Smith did. He said, I feel like we are going to have major improvements in Houston next season. He was really excited.
Okay. Well, you know what? Think about this. I mean, now, Culley was, 66, 67?
Yep.
Lovey, 64. Andy
Yep.
Reid, Andy Reid is 64.
Yep.
I mean, is it? I mean, hey, and I'm not. Every man cuts out his own cloth. I mean, Lovey has had a long and a productive coaching career.
Yep.
I think all in all, like you say, he made it. He carried a team to the Super Bowl. I mean, he carried the Chicago Bears. The Bears haven't been back since then. Bears hadn't really since Lovey had that team up there. So,
Yep.
I mean, and I'm not saying that football is past Lovey. I don't think it has. I think you see the difference of a defensive minded coach and an offensive minded person in Andy Reid. And the way Andy Reid and I'm just listening to the players tonight in their post game, and guys, y'all were in there, and I mean, just all of them, how they were just sort of just saying that they really played their butts off tonight to make sure Andy Reid get that second Super Bowl, man.
You bet.
I mean, they came back in that second half. That rallying cry was, "Hey, we gonna get this one." I mean, they wanted for themselves. But you can tell, man to man, they were emphatic in that enthusiasm and getting that second Super Bowl. I mean, y'all were standing there and just listening to them, guys.
Yep. You brought up Eric Bieniemy. I want to get your guys' opinion on this because, as y'all know, he's still in the running for a potential head coaching job. If he gets that offer, I think he's got to take it. But he's also interviewing for a couple of offensive coordinator positions elsewhere. My question, why would Eric Bieniemy leave the Chiefs and what they have going for an offensive coordinator position instead of a head coaching position with another team? Because I think whenever Andy Reid hangs it up, if Eric Bieniemy is still in the shadows, Eric Bieniemy becomes the next head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Radman, you want to take it first?
Sure. I think it's time. He knows he should have been ahead. If Nagy was the head coach and Nagy did the same job that Eric Bieniemy did, and now he ended up getting an opportunity with Chicago. And now he's back in Kansas City, and I think they already agreed that Nagy is going to be the offensive coordinator next year. And Bieniemy already done told him he's ready to move on and get a chance to go with a defensive head coach, so that they can't. Because these announcers are so sick of the Romo and them. Oh yeah, this is Eric Bieniemy running like Eric Bieniemy's not doing anything. It's all Andy Reid. Oh, he's running Andy Reid's offense. If Andy Reid's offense is going well, they try not the announcers, and then when the announcers do that, they make people overall think that Eric Bieniemy, they're just pushing a narrative that's very unfair to this man, only because he's African American. Because they didn't do that when Nagy had the position. So I think he's going to take the Tennessee job because Mike Vrabel has a very good defensive mindset. He gets somebody like that in the offense and get them a halfway decent quarterback that won't turn the ball over. I think the Tennessee Titans will be right back at it because they just had too many injuries this year to compete. So I think he'll be with the Titans, and I think the Kansas City Chiefs, if they're thinking about it, go pick up the Bills' Jordan Poyer at least for 1 year or 2 years, and have Poyer help those guys on the back end because they need a veteran safety that really knows what they're doing on the field and can help with the defensive calls. Because you can see they're lost like a ball in high weeds in that Kansas City secondary, and they don't won what? They've been in the Super Bowl 3 times, and their secondary is horrible. But that just shows you how great the offensive side of the ball is, that they can overcome their defensive issues.
Well, back to Eric Bieniemy. One of the key they say that he doesn't interview well. Well, I take that to mean what you mean he doesn't speak well or whatever. I sat there and he his presser tonight, and I'm sitting there trying to figure out. Wait a minute. I'm trying to understand, and I know that's a different situation in an interview as post game, and you in the euphoria of all of that. But I'm sitting there trying to understand what you mean he doesn't talk well or whatever. I thought he was quite abusive in his commentary tonight, and because he literally was sidestepping all of those comments. He had sidestepped all those comments because they was asked specifically about his coaching job tonight. And he said, I'm not going to touch it tonight. He said, I'm not going to touch it tomorrow. I'm not going to touch it the day after. He said that I'm gonna just go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and take this for what it's worth. I'm gonna enjoy this moment and be quite candid with you. I don't think he's coming back to Kansas City. I mean, I know his contract is up. I don't think he's coming back to Kansas City, guys. I think for his sake, for his professional development, he has to move on. And that's a shame. That's a shame.
Yeah.
Because and I'm sort of wondering would the Hunts really give him the opportunity to run that team if they decide to step away?
Valid point.
I don't think so. I doubt it. I think they'll go with Nagy. Or one other of their guys that disciples that have come through there. I don't see that happening there. I see him, Eric Bieniemy, with opportunity, hopefully somewhere else. And when you hear him talk, he's very direct. Just what you just said. You left out his demeanor, how he talks. He's a very direct talker.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't like black men who are direct people. They feel intimidated by those type of men that talk direct and frank and right to the point. He's all business. He don't, he is what he is. He's a guy that he's gonna tell you in practice. He's gonna let you know he don't appreciate it, and you're not gonna appreciate how he tells you. He's very because you hear the players. He's not a player's coach. He's just the opposite of Andy Reid. And what they say about Andy Reid and Mike Tomlin being a player's coaches. This guy, I think he runs it by more of not intimidation. May be a harsh word, but more intimidating than, hey man, you better do your job.
But the players respect him, guy. I mean,
they do.
They got the utmost world of respect for him. There's no ifs, ands, and buts.
They do.
I mean, and like they said, and George, you're right. I've heard a lot of them say, he'll as the old folks used to say, they'll tell you how the cow ate the cabbage, and he'll give you explicit instructions on how the cow ate the cabbage, as the old folks used to say. So, in that aspect, I mean, hey guys, you know what? I know it's late. I appreciate y'all staying up.
We'll see how it goes.
It's a good one, Rad man. Y'all have a safe trip going back to Rochester. So and you and Mighty Oba, y'all have a safe trip going back. Elwin, you heading out tomorrow. I am too.
All right,
gentlemen. We done brought this.
Right.
We dropped the curtain on this season, and we'll be looking for the draft next. And we already, I know folks down there, as far as the Texans are concerned, they're sitting there with bated breath now. They got the guy. At least they feel like they got the guy. They got the DC. They got the OC now, and so. I think we're gonna start seeing a little bit of. I'm not gonna say we're gonna see San Francisco Central, but we're gonna see some inklings of the 49ers. Now the question is, who are we gonna get to run it until we either get Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud? It's gonna be one of the two.
Yep.
It's gonna be one of the two.
Hopefully, C.J. Stroud. I hope you guys get C.J. Stroud. I think he's the better of the two.
Hey, Rad man, I'm gonna tell you something. You and I think we probably on the same accord. I mean, and that's not a knock on Bryce Young. Bryce Young seems more like the Wilson. I mean, I just looking at the two. I'm sort of looking at okay, and that's a personal taste. Now, we'll put it like this: I'm not in the draft room when the Texans decide, but whoever they decide, fans gonna go crazy. I just hope like the devil they give everybody opportunity and time, and they're gonna have to this time, and we got to be patient. And I think we will turn this thing around like sooner than later. But anyway, guys, hey, I appreciate it. It's been good. It's been a good season. We'll stay in touch during the draft and everything else. And I'll be prepared. And thanks again, guys. Be safe going home. God bless. And I appreciate you. Okay.
Appreciate you, AD. Thanks for having us.
All right. You too, AD. Thanks for having us on the show. Take care, guys.
Take care, guys. All right, we'll do. All right, guys, as we get ready to wrap this puppy up, we have, as I say, be safe. Thank you all for just being with us this season. It's season we put a wrap on it, and the Texans are on the clock now. Take care, be blessed, and we'll see you down the road. Plus, we'll just be in touch. I'll be keeping you posted on some specials, some things we'll be doing, and be blessed. I'm out. Have a safe trip home. We love it. Peace, ciao, and we're done.